Hello and welcome back to the Preppy podcast. Thank you all so much for being here today. I am thrilled to have the founder of Dondolo on the podcast today, as it is a brand that I have loved for years and worn for many years. We talk about kind of the first time that I discovered the brand and started wearing it on this episode, and I really enjoyed learning how the brand has changed over the years, but remained true to giving back and quality and their customers. So I hope you'll enjoy this interview. But before we get into that, I want to say that I am so excited because this is the last episode before Camp Preppy. So it is down to the wire. It is almost here. Before the next episode goes live, I will be at Camp Preppy with all of our amazing attendees and campers and partners. So be sure that you are following me at Patricia_May, M-A-E, _Olson, O-L-S-O-N, as well as at the Preppy podcast, because I will be sharing a lot of behind the scenes, my outfits, what we are doing, all the fun activities, the great gift bags. I've been working on this and planning this for many months, so I can't wait to share it all with you, and that I just can't believe it's actually here. So definitely check that out. Stay tuned. And I'm going to have on the website a spot where if you want to be the first to know about the next Camp Preppy, because I've had many requests to do another, so I'm already planning another, you can sign up for one of those spots to be the first to know about it. So you can find that information at thepreppypodcast.com. And yeah, let's get into this week's episode. All right. So why don't you let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do?
So I am Catalina Gonzalez Jorba, and I live in Dallas, Texas. Originally from Colombia, South America, but got here almost 25 years ago.
Wow.
Went to SMU, met my husband now, and decided to stay here. A common ground for both of us. And I am the founder and designer for Dondolo.
Excellent. Well, I am so excited to talk with you today because I've been a fan of your brand for many years. I just love like the beautiful details, the fun prints. So we're going to talk all about that today. But first, let's bring it back to the beginning. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. Were you always interested in fashion or interested in creating, or maybe had an entrepreneurial spirit at a young age?
So I would say that, like I told my close friends and my family, is that I see in color. So since I was very young, everything for me was like the different colors everywhere. I grew up in Cartagena, which is a city full of vibrant colors. So I think that also played a part on it. Yes, so I've been inspired by color and always wanted to do something with that. I went to school wanting to do arts,
Mhm.
but again, I was born in a family, very conservative family, which my dad was like, I'm sending you to the US. You need to study business.
Yeah.
So I went to school and I did economics and finance,
Okay.
but I graduated with a minor in arts.
Oh, nice.
So I that's where I found my passion. That's where I felt at home. So ever since, I've been kind of nurturing that art part in what I love to do. And this is one of the things that I love to do in my life. So
I love how you say that you see in color because I'm someone, I love color. My house is full of color. My closet's full of color. And I think either people love color or they're like not comfortable with it. They're kind of scared of it and they stick to neutrals. But color just makes me so happy. And I feel like you're obviously the same way.
yes, yes. I feel that with color, you can express all the emotions, and it's a feeling, I think. And when you live in a house full of color, you kind of, it makes life, just more fluid and happier, I guess.
Yep. So you graduate then with this degree and then the minor with art. What was your first career and career journey kind of leading up to starting your own brand?
So my first career, so I was hired um, but to do like basically accounting and financial by my father-in-law. And I started doing that and then got married very, very young. Again, I wanted to have babies young because I had older parents, which I never had grandparents. So I wanted my kids to have,
Yeah.
to have that experience. I have a 14-year-old and I'm, you know, almost 40. So again, very young. I started very young. And yes, so what I really wanted to do was kind of like experience that work before I got
Mhm.
married, and I did. And when I had my first baby, I literally told my husband, I was like, I need to do something other than being a mom. Not that I don't love being a mom. I had three more after that. I have four boys, but I really wanted to do something creative and to
Mhm.
give back. So that's where Dondolo started, especially with the giving back part of it.
I love that. I think a lot of women, they need a creative outlet, especially when they have their first kid and they're at home and all in with motherhood. You need something, to let your creative energy out and do something for yourself, right?
Exactly. And I think that I needed, I needed more of
Mm.
life. I was so happy being a young mom, but at the same time, I was like, I need to fulfill this part of me that, has been dying to go out. And again, at 25, you don't know who you are, right?
Mhm.
I learned who I was in my 30s, and I keep learning every day, right? It's about
Yep.
growth. But yes, so kind of like knew I wanted that creative part. I knew I wanted to give back. So those were the two essential things that kind of like pivoted to Dondolo and what it is today. It has changed so much. It has, you know, been growing and fluctuating and changing and pivoting over the years. But at the end of the day, is that it's like
The
creativity and
core.
yes, and the
Yeah.
heart of the brand is giving back.
I love that. So then tell me about getting started with Dondolo. Like, was it always closed at the beginning? What was it like at the beginning? Kind of how did you go from, I need to do something for myself, I need a creative outlet, to having product to sell to people? Like, what were those steps and what did it look like?
So imagine me at 25 with a newborn, right? And me, literally waiting for my husband with the baby on me and being like, I need you to take him because, I'm overwhelmed. And me being like, okay, I love Pima clothing. I've been buying it here for my newborn. I love how it feels on him. I want to do that. I think I want to do, basically a online store that carries Pima clothing. It's only offered here in the big, name brands like Neiman's and, Nordstrom, but there's not like a small, again, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And I did all my research and I started buying from Peru,
Okay.
again, because they're the biggest Pima clothing
Yeah.
provider. And I started buying from them. I started my website, which at that time was a whole thing. I met with a person, a whole company. I met with, again, an agency that did all my logo and my
Mhm.
branding, which, Dondolo comes from, Dondolo means swing in Italian.
Okay.
So when it goes, it comes back. So it was the whole thing about babies love to be rocked, but it was also, kind of taking it back to when you give, it goes back to you with so much love and, just that energy of giving back.
Oh, I love that.
So that was part of it too. And the first logo was a little swing, it was a swing with a girl and then it fluctuated. But, that was kind of like how it started with Pima clothing and this website online. Fast forward the first 2 years of the company, I had a warehouse full of Pima clothing, baby clothing, and then a website that I might sold to, my family friends, and that's
Yeah.
it. Nobody else.
Well, you've come a long way.
Well, and it's when Instagram started. So I kind of kind of shifted my personal Instagram like we used to do, to
Mhm.
the companies. And, because at that point, companies weren't allowed to have Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So, um, again, many years ago, but it was a whole experience. I was like, okay, so how am I supposed to sell this? Like, I had no idea what having an online business meant, or how it
Mhm.
was, or operated. No idea. I just knew that I had this vision of, like, every item that I sold, I would give one back in
Oh, I
Colombia.
love okay.
So, that was kind of like the heart of the brand always. So we did our first gift back trip, I think, like 3 years or 4 years, a little bit more actually, like 5 years after I started the company, where
Mhm.
we gave back, everything that we had sold, those first years of the brand. And it was
Oh, wow.
such a beautiful experience that I think it changed, how I approach everything, how I approach motherhood, how I approach
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
So it was very special. So, like Pima clothing. Okay. So basically, fast forward 3 years, I had my first baby. He was already 3 years old, pregnant with my second one, had my second baby. I kind of left the online business there, didn't touch it. Then, things happened. My father in law um, passed away, which was
Oh,
very
sorry.
hard for us. So it kind of everything was on hold until my husband was like, okay, we have a warehouse full of baby clothes.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Should I? Because the building was his. So he was like, okay, either.
Salad or like yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let me try again. So I literally started going to all the stores here in Dallas. I literally took a cardboard box with me, and just walked into the boutiques and was like, hey, I have these products. I would love for you to carry them. And actually, the store here, in Dallas, Layette, was the first one who carried Dondolo.
Wow.
And they were like, you know what? Yeah, I love what this is all about. I'll give it a try. And it was amazing. And that's where I started to learn what, women supporting women
Mhm.
meant. And we were part of that movement. That was our early stages of our company, kind of like that, women supporting women, us supporting all the women that did all the embroidery in Colombia, because again, that's when we stopped buying Pima clothing
Mhm.
and started buying beautiful hand smocked clothing in Colombia. So that's where I was like, okay, this is what it's going to be, more of a collection brand. I'm going to be designing. I love designing. So there was kind of like, again, it was turned into that creative outlet, um, that I, still love. And, it was more a collection. And then, so wholesale worked. So I started going to wholesale markets.
Wow.
So Atlanta, Dallas, New
Mhm.
York, Javits Center. So I started going to all these wholesale markets, and I was pregnant with my third child. So I remember that pregnancy, I traveled so much everywhere, and it was incredible. It was beautiful, but it was also super tiring,
Yeah.
very hard. So, again, fast forward a little bit, we were doing great. We were growing very much. And then I had my fourth baby.
Oh my gosh.
And I decided that I didn't want it to travel anymore.
Mhm.
And I had a team, small team, but very mighty. And we decided to start rebranding Dondolo and kind of going back to what it meant, what it was. And, from having like almost 200 wholesale boutiques, this was January of COVID. So COVID hadn't
Wow.
hit.
Okay.
And my son, I was like basically almost I was 6 months. And that's when I told the team, okay, I'm not doing like, I cannot keep traveling. So I think we're not going to do wholesale anymore.
Mhm.
Like, do you guys think we're going to be able to, do it? Like, basically be able to survive it?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, I think we could. We don't know. So basically, January of COVID year, we decided to pull back from wholesale and start our own thing on Instagram and completely rebrand, which in hindsight, in March, when everything was closed, when
Yeah.
all stores were closed, was like brilliant.
So smart. Great timing.
Incredible timing. Our lease was up for the Atlanta market, so it was perfect timing to say, okay, no more. And we started, just direct to consumer. And then I was able to stay at home, was able to, and our tagline became, celebrating memories at home and celebrating memories together.
Mm.
And it was this whole, you know, just community that we love dressing our babies and dressing ourselves just to eat dinner at home, but sharing it. And, through Instagram, I think it was such a powerful tool in those times that we grew exponentially. We
Mhm.
grew, 300%, right? So we were selling, we couldn't make enough to sell.
Wow.
And that was like our biggest growth.
Yeah.
And then, the grand millennial buy was a thing, which
Mhm.
is not any, it kind of fluctuates, right? And so we wrote that as well. And right when things started to open again after COVID is when our collaboration started to happen.
Okay.
So we started collaborating with Pencil and Paper with Jen from Pencil
Love
Paper
Jen.
Co.
I think that was the first piece I bought from you, actually, might have been the collab with her.
Probably she is incredible and she has been such a mentor for me and just another beautiful woman, supporting me and Dondolo. And then we did a collaboration with Love Shack Fancy, and we did a collaboration with other women on brands that we met
Yeah.
at one of Jen's, like, we went to Charleston and we did
Oh,
this
yeah,
whole
her retreat.
the retreat, yes. So again, it has been so beautiful. So we basically did a ton of collaborations, which were incredible with influencers, Emily from Born on Fifth, just a lot of collaborations during those upcoming years. Um, and then, just fast forward till now, the past Instagram was our biggest way of selling. And
Mhm.
since like maybe the last 2 years for businesses, it has become more and more like it has become just harder to
Yes.
sell on Instagram. So avenues like newsletters, which for us, didn't work really well
Mhm.
before, now are working really well.
Wow.
So it was really, really special for us to build that community
Mhm.
and throughout those years of um, just direct to consumer and collaborations. So now we have that strong kind of community that we sell through. And fast forward the last year, between last year and this year, now I have 4 babies that
Oh,
I'm
wow.
very, very dedicated to, and this is where I want most of my time
Mhm.
spent. And I think Dondolo, as my second baby, has been very, very flexible in allowing me that kind of
Yeah.
like, exponential growth, and now kind of like making it more to a point where it's less growth, but more steady,
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
in a beautiful way. Things are coming up that are even more special. I just want to be able to do more like beautiful, incredible fabrics, like what we have been doing, but even more special, like Liberty
Mhm.
prints, for example, and do more of that. And, kind of like less of like the mass selling and more of
Mhm.
like concentrating in the special details that we have been forever,
And that your core customers love.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So I love that journey of your business. It was so great to see the growth and to see how, you know, with certain outside effects and inside they change, but all for the better, right? I would love for you to tell listeners about what makes your brand so special. I know because, like I said, I've worn it for many years, but I know you use special fabrics from France. You collaborate with beautiful artists. I don't know if people can see if they're watching on video, but this has a great like cowgirl boots and horses on here. So can you talk a little bit about those special details that you mentioned that make it so special?
Yeah, thank you, by the way, for, believing in our pieces and loving them. That's
Of
like the
course.
biggest compliment. So everything from when the fabrics are sourced, for example, like you were saying, either it's like an amazing, Parisian or Spanish fabric that I handpicked, or London or Livery London fabric.
Mhm.
The buttons, I try to, either use pearl buttons or heart buttons or star buttons. Like everything, I love being able to be surprised by something whenever I'm wearing it, or whenever I open it, or whenever, so that is the level of detail and surprise that I want our customers to always feel. And especially when they open their clothes, but also when they open their children's, because I feel there's such a beautiful experience, when
Mhm.
you're like, oh my goodness, and they're going to be able to wear this, or I'm going to wear this with them, or I'm going to wear this for this event, like, is just the connection, the emotional connection
Mhm.
that clothing brings to our lives. That is very special to me.
Yep.
So yeah, so it starts with the fabric. So either source in Europe, or we print them in Colombia, and we use basically, well, I collaborate with incredible illustrators. You know, Catherine Cartier has been one of them. She has been incredible doing the Western prints.
Mhm.
Also collaborated with Ashley Beckley. In the beginning, we collaborated with Riley, who was incredible. And I'm wearing one of the prints that we
They're
did.
so pretty.
And this is the Dallas print. And still, I wear it and I'm like, oh, I love this shirt so much. I'm going to an event here in Dallas today. And I was like, I need to wear this.
Yeah,
So
represent.
is that emotional, kind of attachment that I think works with our clothing. And then the whole smocking part of it, it takes, for the shirts, it takes almost half of a day for a woman to
Wow.
just hand smock it. So everything is done by hand, and it's a trade that they have passed generation through generation since the colonial time, since we were a Spanish, colonial, basically, all South America. Well, Colombia was.
Mhm.
So it has been a trade that has been passed down by the women in the family. And it's beautiful to see them work from home and actually take care of their families, and basically change that cycle to a better one of their day to day, of their children's education, of their future. So helping them, has meant so much for the Dondolo, just heart of the business. And yes, and then it comes back to the moms and women who, wear them and love them. And yes,
Definitely. Even when I open up the box, your packaging and boxes are so beautiful too, and the detail in those. I noticed that right away.
thank you. When we rebranded, it was an incredible experience to be able to, like, what is going to be our pattern, what are our colors. I learned so much in that process too, because at the end of the day, the brand is so important for everything,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. So I'd love to learn more about Dondolo Gives. I know you mentioned it a little bit, but I think that's such a core of your business, like you talked about, and so special, and it makes the consumer feel good about their purchase.
Yes. So with Dondolo Gives, we have communities in Cartagena in Colombia where I grew up where we help constantly. So we see a need in the community for um, soccer cleats and soccer balls and soccer uniforms for their local soccer team. And we get those. Last Thanksgiving, I went with my boys and we basically went there and gave them all the whole soccer team, all their uniforms and cleats and everything. And it
Mm,
was a way also to include my family in the gift back, which I thought it was so special. But again, we do Christmas gifts, we fix the school. We are very involved in the community there.
mm,
Also, our moms that do all the hand embroidery are part of our Dondolo gifts. We try to help them as much as we can. And here in Dallas, we have organizations, the Birthday Party Project, Community Partners of Dallas. We love donating to the Rainbow Room, which is such a special place for children, that need it.
mm-hmm.
And other organizations here in Dallas that help, you know, women and children that are women and children focused. Even the Texas Ballet, for example, we um, we did a dress last Christmas, which sold out the first day that we launched, and we donated a percentage to the Texas Ballet Theater,
Wow.
which again in the arts, it's helping young people to fulfill their dream of
Mm-hmm.
dancing. So in women, children, and in the arts, I guess, is where Dondolo Gives is and tries to be always present. With the horrible tragedy that happened in the summer in Dallas, we actually sold our Western print, which is so close to every Texan's heart. And we donated all the proceeds from those
Oh, wow.
days that we sold.
How
So
special.
we were able to donate to two of the foundations of the girls that you know are part of our community.
Yes. No, that's so wonderful. I think that's so important. Now, I know you're a mom of four, and we talked about how that impacts your business and your life. How do you think that it's helped prepare you for business, or how has it strengthened you as, an entrepreneur and a businesswoman being a mom of four?
Oh my goodness. um the flexibility, I would say, first,
Mhm.
because in a starting business, or I think in a small business, when you're running a small business, um, you need flexibility and you need to pivot, and you need to, in my team meeting, I'm like, hey, we're not making the sales, so what about if we do this, or what other ideas do you have, and or
Mhm.
or this is going great, but we got stuck in costumes
Yeah.
and we cannot deliver when we tell our customers to deliver. So what are we going to do? What's going to
Yeah.
be our next way of doing customer service in a beautiful way, but I'm sorry, in a beautiful way, and also trying to always make everybody happy, but at the same time, the reality is that we're bringing things from Colombia, it's coming to the US and then through FedEx, and we need to deliver to all of you. So, kind of like taking that into reality. And again, so flexibility. And another one I think will be that it's I think, very important, like multitasking. Well, I think another one too, but kind of multitasking, being able to, um, I literally book time, and I learned this a long time ago, and I think it has been one of the best advices that I it has been given to me. But kind of in your daily schedule, book time not only for your meetings, work meetings, but also
Mhm.
for your children.
Mm.
So book time for, okay, I am going to be the one taking them to soccer today, and then we're going to go to have ice cream together, like have those so for me is every day belongs to a child. So it's the day that I spend with them, taking them to their activities, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie, half of the time we're Uber drivers going back and forth. But I actually love it because I get to, write with them, and that's where I
Yeah,
ask all the
talk with them.
questions, and
Yeah.
that's where we talk and have those important conversations actually. But
Mhm.
having that time doing something else, it's very important. Um, and then, so flexibility, multitasking. And I would say, like, one thing that this morning I was reminded of, that I was like taking deep breaths, was like, sometimes no matter what you do, no matter how well you planned, everything goes wrong,
Yeah.
and this morning I was making dinner at 5 a.m. in the morning, and breakfast, and getting everything ready for everybody. And no matter how planned I had it, no matter anything, everything was getting burned. I did pancakes 3 times, and they kept getting burned. I was like, what is it?
Yeah.
Like, why? And everything kept getting burned. Like the rice burned. Like I almost had a visit from the firefighters this morning. I was like, but why? I was late. Like it's just like, but no matter how bad things look or feel, or how everything, feel that it's going wrong, I think going back to the heart, like, why are you doing this? Like, why am I doing this? Why do I think it's important to do breakfast every day for my children?
Mhm.
And do them healthy lunches, do them rice with chicken with veggies and etc., instead of just, packing them a sandwich. Why? Going back to the why, it's what has kept me going throughout all these years. And same with my business, like, going back to the why am I doing this? Who is the reason,
Yeah.
why I think this is important.
Yeah. No, that's so important. I think with anyone in any form of business is to know the why, and even just with daily life, to go back to that, to keep going. So I know you've had some amazing collaborations that we mentioned earlier. And then obviously Dondolo Gives is such an important part of the business. What would you say is like another big pinch me moment? Like something you've done with your business that you can't believe happened, or you were so proud of?
So I have a couple, and I'll go through them really quick. I think early stages, one, was when I started to see, like, people I admired, online or
Mhm.
on Instagram, wearing my clothing. Like, one of them was Amber Vance, which is now
Wow.
we're close friends. But at the beginning, I was like, oh my goodness, her daughters are wearing Dondolo. What? Like, so that was one of the pinch me moments. And she got out a book, and then her daughter was in it. Or, the Defined Dish, for example, that in one of her early books, the girls are wearing my clothing. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so sweet. And again, that comes back to women supporting women. And this community here in Dallas is so supportive and so beautiful and so sweet. So that was one of my, kind of pinch me moments. Um, and then another one, like being approached by big brands, like,
Mm.
for example, by Jen. We were
Yeah.
in her retreat, and she was like, "Well, if you ever do women, let me know." I was like, "Wah!" And kind of going through that collaboration and doing for the first time women was a pinch me moment for me, for sure. And another one I think will be, doing the Love Shack Fancy collaboration. I
Yeah.
think it was kind of a pinch me moment, saying, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. I worked with, it's hard. It was hard. It was crazy. It was fast, but we made it, and we worked. Yes. So I think those will be, the ones that I like throughout the journey, would
Yeah.
be some pinch me moments.
Definitely. Those are all such great moments to celebrate for sure. Now, is there a resource that you can share with listeners, whether it's a great book you've read, or a newsletter that you think has helped you, or just maybe even just a piece of advice?
Okay. I love following other women brand owners
Mm-hmm.
like Lingua Franca's Rachel. Like she's also incredible and she's amazing to follow. She does an incredible newsletter. um, Goop is also a really good one. And yes, newsletters I love hearing to books instead of listening them.
Mm-hmm.
I love, which has no relationship to maybe, well, it has life, but the 5 a.m. club is a really
Okay.
good one that kind of
Okay.
changed my life in terms of like, productivity. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that whenever you're trying to juggle, children, family, husband, and also a company, I think productivity is one of the key.
Yeah.
And I would say to finish, your like my team to be able to another book that I've loved that I recently finished was How to Motivate Young Adults.
Okay.
Um, and it's 10 to 25, I think it's 10 to 25 years old.
Okay.
And it has been so insightful for me, not only as a mom, but also as a business owner.
Mm.
I think the the key in having a good team is definitely hiring someone that goes with your um, company's values,
Yes.
also building a team that stays within those values of
Mm-hmm.
respect, of love, etc. And it's willing to, so this book has been really good for me.
Okay. I'm gonna add those two to my list. They sound great. So, since this is the Preppy podcast, I always ask everyone, what does Preppy mean to you? So, how would you describe Preppy?
Oh, oh my goodness. I described it pink. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. I think that's perfect. Pink is definitely preppy and one of my favorite colors, as you can see.
I love it. Well, mine too.
That's perfect. What are some other brands that you love to support or pair nicely with your brand, maybe that you want to give a shout out for people to check out?
Mm, oh my goodness, so many. Okay, since I'm wearing Western and you're wearing Western, I'm gonna say Miran Crosby.
Mm,
Um, Lizzie and Sarah had been amazing friends here in Dallas, and I love their boots, and they pair incredibly well
yeah.
with Dondolo. Also, Lila Rose, I love her buckles and belts, and I love everything
Yeah.
she does. But there's her skirts with Dondolo also pair really well.
Yeah.
Um, and also, she's a local, so I love supporting local friends. Um,
Hmm.
who else can I think of?
Those are great, though. Those are good answers. Yeah, I love that. What's next? Any sneak peeks you can share with listeners? Anything you're working on right now?
Okay, so I'm working on a lot of European fabrics.
Mm.
We got the not so good news that all of our shipments are going to get charged almost a 20% in tariffs
Oh,
from Colombia.
yeah.
We haven't made it public, so you know it's kind of like a bittersweet. In terms of like, again, will we be able to survive? And I
Hmm.
think Dondolo has been going through this, like every other company. So we are pivoting, and we're kind of, like I said in the beginning, investing in more of high quality
Hmm.
um, fabrics, buttons, everything. And maybe a collaboration with someone out there in the wedding industry.
Ooh,
I
okay.
know that is exciting. And I don't know, maybe another women's line that it's more, a little bit more my style. So
Okay.
those are, yes. So I'm excited about those.
All super exciting. I can't wait. So, my final question is, where can people find you? Let them know your website URL, social media handles, all of that.
So our social media is Instagram Dondolo official with Dondolo and then dot official, and then my personal is Cata dot Gonzalez dot Jorba, and then Dondolo.com. And then we're in wholesale too. So all of our boutiques that carry us will be a great way to go and touch and feel our product. Yes. And in
That's
pop-ups,
wonderful.
we're constantly doing pop-ups. So please come. We were in Jackson Hole this summer. We're
Oh,
having one here in Dallas. We're ready for, a pop-up anywhere.
excellent. Well, this was such a pleasure to talk with you today and learn more about Dondolo. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Such an honor.
Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy Podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.